Good morning, everyone. I took a day off yesterday. So I mentioned something in the last video, most likely, and Spirit World then just one. If I didn't follow up on it, you gotta be me. I just mentioned to begin with, until we get into Deuteronomy 6, which let's see what that's all about, going on with all this. And I could, instead of just doing the Bible reading, I could just do this. Yes? Okay. There's a couple of things that, okay, now, Spirit World has an unlimited amount of what? Space and time, right? Yes? And they're expecting for you to listen 24/7. Okay, I do that. Just about. There are times where I'm going, ugh, I'm done right now. Me time, me space. Okay. I have gone to Civil War reenactments here in our mountains. There are, yep, I know what people call them. I just call them killing fields. Okay. Ooh, ouch. Ooh. Interesting on how many there are all around the world. Sometimes one wonders, is there a spot in the world still where blood hasn't flowed? Human beings killing human beings. And I've gone with my herbs, and it always had a real going to places where I know bodies were just laying there, this, that. It's a long time ago. Come on now, now one just, again, the victory part of certain things, and then just, all right, I get it. I talked about that too, right? What Swiss history is all about, or some of it. And I remember the first time that I went to that place, and I was busy setting things up. I was busy. It was a Friday, and many children from schools came with their buses. So you're very busy, and you talk to the children, you teach them this and that, not know what, right? And you're anchored kind of in the physical and not pay too much attention to what's going on spiritually. And then things kind of calmed down, and I sat there, and suddenly there was just this outcry of voices, and just the screams in pain, and the screams and utter delirium, and the adrenaline that I felt from the soldiers, this, that, and it was like this, just getting into the killing mode. And it was the, it was like, wow. I have felt this before in other places, but spending hours and hours, right, there in that particular place, rather than just walking through, feeling it, this, that, which is much milder, but kind of really becoming part of that odd energy that isn't just there in the physical, but in the spirit, was really overwhelming. And oh my gosh, this is one of those things where I feel like, as someone like me, you have to have a really strong centered root of belief and faith to not go crazy. That's all I can say. Of course, anytime things like this happen to me, I'm immediately going, okay, this is all a cry for help. This is all still here. This has not been resolved. There's no restoration has been going on there. Why? Because of the way the people think, the way that the people accept certain things as, well, that's just how it was, that's how it is, that's how it needed to be done, and then that's it. Right? Clear the table, throw all the leftovers in the garbage, this and that, not realizing you could have still done something with these leftovers. You could have, okay, I'm just saying. So immediately I've done a condition. I've done several conditions for soldiers, and yeah. So okay, so one has these experiences in spirit. Okay, the thing is, once you start taking some responsibility, yeah. What did I have to do with any of that here in the United States? Not even from here, really, when it comes down to it. Yet, I'm a human being. These were human beings. Done. The encouragement in other areas that I had other experiences with, like, for example, foul energy coming from the second commandment, not being kept by people, then attacking the weakest one in our society all over the world, children, which I might have to wait again, you guys. Certain other things, yes, okay. Then the absoluteness of, no, thou shalt not kill. Done. You don't get to change that just because you want to. Yeah? So that was one. Yeah. Then, and by the way, I've had that. We have a memorial monument here, kind of just for a number of mine workers, coal miners that were trapped, and many of them died. And I've gone there, and interestingly enough, the same thing happened there, but a little bit in a different way. And again, is that to show me the difference of a killing field and where people somehow, due to some kind of a cave-in, this or that, being trapped, now they have to survive, as many as there were, right? I think it was 49, 50, maybe more. And who made it and who didn't. There's one person actually only that survived. But the energy of that was different. It was not the same as where human beings go against human beings and killing happens. But felt it there too. That the somehow, because of the care that was given in that particular place to these coal miners, the spirit of them is there. And it's very appreciative, actually, in a way. Because it wasn't just the coal miners that passed away. It's afterwards and how their families had to deal with the consequence of their primary breadwinner has left the building. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Oh. Then a few years ago, I went on a trip with a friend, and we ended up going through D.C. I had to get my passport renewed. That's a whole other story, but I had to go through D.C., and we went to the Lincoln thing, and there was this, I did not know that, wall where all the soldiers from the Korean War, all their names that had fallen, were on there. And, well, get in there. Oh my gosh, my heart's starting to pump right now. And I stood there, and I went to the wall, and I put my hand on it, and it was like this just, oh. I started to physically get sick, nauseous, this, that, and the screams, the just horrific, whatever was going on there with it all, just was all in my ears, okay? and it traveled down into my system. My friend wanted to go and check some other. I said, hey, I need to sit down for a moment. And I just sat there. And again, all I could do is just center myself and start praying. That's what I did. Right? Yes. It was so overwhelming. I could not hear anything else except for the screams of the soldiers, the noise, that it was just every soldier just was giving their individual just holler. Okay. That's the best I can say or describe it in a way. Well, my friend gets back, says, hey, you're as white as a sheet. I said, I got to get out of here. I said, I can't, this is too much to absorb right here. All this energy it's collected right here, and I need to leave. I need to go. And we walked away, and after about a half a mile back to something else, or where our car was, I started to feel better. Yes. Yeah, I did immediately. I went and yeah, so that's what I want to give to begin with here. Okay. All right. Yes. How can people be so affected by the past? And why is that? I talk a lot about restoration, right? Yes. Okay. All right. This is for our celestial condition. Suppose it's going to end May 5th, which is, let's see, in 2 days, 3 days. Danielle, it'd be good for you to know what date it is. I know. Our celestial condition established heaven on earth. I was a blessed child. Peace in mankind, care and love for every dependent child. Peace. Every child feels secure, which reflects cause and effect in a child's life. Peace. Every child eats. Peace. Every child is warmed in cold times. Peace. Understanding a child's growth in troubling times. Then to guide the child to attain harmony with peace. I'm centering myself here as well while I'm reading this. I am peace as a father, as a mother, as a son, as a daughter of God. Peace, to become the best I can be for every child. Repentance, knowing every child is deserving of peace. Prayer, knowing every child comes first. Restored, conditions are fulfilled when every child is loved and cared for. Death separates us from our earthly path to attain peace. Whoa. With what I just said before, this kind of takes on a whole new... Our taught descendants are the future, the change of lineage, God's lineage in action, the true cause and effect in a child's harmonious and happy life. I am an adult, ashamed to ask for anything from my heavenly parents for myself. If a child on earth needs my prayers and conditions greater than I, peace will happen when peace can be found in every child. I will be less than any child that suffers due to mankind's unkindness. The spirit world will hold us all accountable, regardless. Remember that. So before I start with this just brought one more other thing back. I saw that sister in faith, Melinda, thank you, shared where someone alerted us again to the fact that a troubled child might just be in the wrong environment, and that's why it becomes a troubled child, yes, or a troublemaker. Oddly enough, children like that in nature suddenly excel to be a leader, yes, yeah. I found that to be true, absolutely 100%. When children were brought to me here as troublemakers. They can't be dealt with, and I'm talking, there was some, okay. I found that it was never, the trouble wasn't the child, ever, never, not one time. Who was the trouble? Well, okay. So, children now, rather than in the way that they were designed by God, the gifts and talents they were given, yes? And, of course, where does the child go? If it's about restoration, then the parents are going to have to be aware of that. What child did I just get? Right? Yes? What does this child really need when it comes to certain things? Right? Finding their talents and their gifts. Yes? Okay. Every child that I had here and then watched and see what's going on, I realized they're in the right environment here now. Yeah. And there were no fences, there were no desks, and there were no chairs. And they could literally, from morning till night, just be into what they wanted to do, right? Yeah, of course, always with the safety net in mind when it comes to certain things. But they learned quickly. Yes, yeah. And they followed instructions quite fast. It was not. But that's because I'm a very steadfast. No, you don't get to do this or that. And explained exactly why that is. Again, for their own safety. Yes? Okay. Anywho. It's a good post. Amazes me on how people out there are, on how they're willing to sacrifice the harmony and peace of children for their own selfish manure pile. Okay, let's get going here in Deuteronomy 6. Such then are the commandments, the laws, and the customs which Yahweh your God has instructed me to teach you, for you to observe in the country which you are on your way to possess. And hence, if throughout your lives you fear Yahweh your God and keep all his laws and commandments, which I am laying down for you today, you will live long, you and your child and your grandchild. Listen then, Israel, keep and observe what will make you prosperous and numerous, as Yahweh, God of your ancestors, has promised you in giving you a country flowing with milk and honey. Interesting is, if you look at ourselves as children, and God, of course, is the heavenly parents, right? Father and mother, okay, of it all. Then, you're going, I really want to do this. I really, or you're being enticed, talked into something. Oh, yes. Oh, we have experts out there at that. And you're going, but if I do that, number one, I could get into some trouble. Number two, that could escalate into a situation where neither I or my family will be safe again. Yes? Okay. So what do we fear? It's not to fear God and his laws. It's to fear what the consequences could be. God didn't give us. Our Father in heaven, what did I explain just before? Right? When we have children here, supposedly, I lay the law down with certain things, right, for their own safety. Right? And I explain why. Right? And I don't explain it with, okay, honey. I'm going, look, this is what you can do. This is what you don't get to do. And if I catch you, you're going to run out of fun. Which means you have to leave. Right? Yes? Right? Are these children fearing me? No. They're going to try and please me. Right? Yes? Oh, here's someone serious. Here's someone who's going to let us, right? And I want to be here, right? But if I break the law we have here on the farm, if they do, there will be a problem. Do I want to deal with that problem or not? Yes? Kind of makes sense? This is, again, if you are in a content environment, in a restoring environment, and you start to realize the blessings that come with that, you don't want to leave that. But of course you will be what? Tempted from morning till night. And for children, it's even more so. Yes? That's also why, even when they cruise around, I was always on the lookout. Yeah? Yeah. Yep, that's close enough to the pond down there. I will jump in after you to get you out, but I'd really rather not do that. And they're like, oh. I said, yeah, you can go down there, this step, but again, I'm watching. Yes? Okay. So, again, has this all meant? If we look in our own life, if we have to experience, yes, as a child, as a growing adult, getting older, right? Then we know how this is meant, because we have this in our own life. Either we were on the receiving end of it or giving it, right? Yes, give and take. Yeah, okay. All right. Listen, Israel, Yahweh our God is the one, the only Yahweh. You must love Yahweh your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. Let the words I enjoin on you today. I enjoin. Wow, I've never heard this said before like this. Stay in your heart. You shall tell them to your children and keep on telling them when you are sitting at home, when you are out and about, when you are lying down and when you are standing up. You must fasten them on your hand as a sign and on your forehead as a headband. You must write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. When Yahweh has brought you into the country which he swore to your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that he would give you, with great and prosperous cities you have not built, with houses full of good things you have not provided, with wells you have not dug, with vineyards and olive trees you have not planted, and then when you have eaten as much as you want, be careful you do not forget Yahweh, who has brought you out of Egypt, out of the place of slave labor. Yahweh your God is the one who you must fear. Him alone you must serve. His is the name by which you must swear. Right? Okay. An appeal for loyalty. Do not allow other gods of the peoples around you, for Yahweh your God among you is a jealous God. We already talked about that. This is not the right wording, as the fear is not the right wording, because people right away, though one wants to understand this right and proper, what will people do out there? Fear God. Ooh, if you don't, you're going to go. No, that's not the way to teach. It's a jealous God. Wait a second. Wrong word. He'll be a disappointed God, for sure. Huh? If. Right? You have to fear the consequences, not God. He would never hurt you. He would never lay the grounds for you to be hurt. We do that on our own. I think that's quite clear. Huh? And we're willing to do that to our children. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. Oh, I could say more now. Don't just read. Okay. The wrath of Yahweh your God would blaze out against you. Not true. And he would wipe you off the face of the earth. I guess they missed The part in Genesis and Noah. Okay. And the rainbow. All right. Well, then God's a liar too. Why not just put that in there too then? You see? Who's trying to control the people now rather than teach them? Okay. Just saying. I was reprimanded on the last video and said, well, a jealous God means, and I just looked and going, well, next time you want to sit in and correct me when I say something, you may do that. Yes? But I said, the wording's wrong. And that is what we're going for. Because you may have it explained one way, someone else may have explained it another way, but what's the proper explanation in that? If you want me to believe, or if, from my heart to mine, I know the God I know, how about you? Yes? So again, here. Okay, so how do you explain this? And at the same time, the promise of the rainbow. That God made with Noah. Again, God's wearing flip-flops and is a flip-flopper. Oh, you can wear flip-flops and walk just fine. Right? Yes? What does it say here? I'm just asking. How does that make sense? Or is this again? Oh, well, next Sunday we're going to take this part here out of the Bible, hoping that nobody knows anything about the other stuff. And we're going to use this. Now, which commandment are we breaking again? Aha. Okay. It is as it is written in the Bible, okay? Yes? But it's okay to alert people to the inconsistencies on how something may be understood properly or on how it is being used improperly. To do what? Now, it's either guide or what? Misguide. Yes? That just depends on, again, why would anybody misguide people through the Bible, using the Bible? What for? I can think of one in particular thing. Okay. Daniela, I can't help it. Oh, and here it goes again. Do not put Yahweh your God to the test as you tested him at Massah. Keep the commandments of Yahweh your God and his instructions and laws which he has laid down for you, and do what Yahweh regards as right and good, so that you may prosper and take possession of the fine country which Yahweh swore to give your ancestors, driving out your enemies before you. Such was Yahweh's promise. Okay, well, there you go. Yahweh was good with killing fields, babies, women. Hey, you can't tell me that. Hey, I'm not going to believe that. That's not possible. No. Then Jesus doesn't make any sense at all. Where did he come from then? No. In times to come, when your child asks you, what is the meaning of these instructions, laws, customs, which Yahweh or God has laid down for you, you are to tell your child, once we were Pharaoh's slaves in Egypt, and Yahweh brought us out of Egypt by his mighty hand. By his mighty hand. Not our mighty hand, his mighty hand. He laid the foundations. He cleared the path. In his way, some way. I said I wasn't there, but I'm sure it would have been interesting. Before our eyes, Yahweh worked great and terrible signs. Great and terrible signs. And wonders against Egypt, against Pharaoh. And his entire household. Again, there one needs to remember too that who did some terrible things to Joseph? Then where did he end up and really prospered? Then was able to save how many of his own people through the fact that he was in a position of, unless, of course, they're all just stories. Okay? We don't need to believe any of it. It could just be made up. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay? So then that suddenly doesn't mean anything to God anymore. So the Egyptians, well, that's because they wouldn't follow. So, yeah, I get that. But still, you think that God would not consider that? That actually he had a people to lead out of Egypt because of whom? Oh, the Egyptians? Who preserved the lives of? Okay, then it got worse, this and that, and their status changed, right? When now I got it. Blockford. When first Joseph's brothers and the father, all went to Egypt, they had their own place on their own somewhere, and were left alone and prospered. Right now, were fed during that time. This and that, right? Yes, okay, and they weren't slaves at that time. So things started to change over time. I get that too. Okay, but yet still, so, just saying. Yes. I'm sure they must have had, the Israelites must have had the stories of how they ended up there. This and that must have been handed down, or not. There was no history of that at all, except for what we know here, right, in this book, in the Bible. Interesting. It's just, I've noticed things like this, and okay, well, all right. Where do people take certain things? Is this really all under the guidance of God? And with that, with the commandments, with the laws of heaven, is it really all there? Or are the misgivings from the past still there? Yes? And how is restoration understood when it comes to a lot of these things? Is it just about other people? Or is it about this people, the people? Hi, you're back. Oh, which reminds me of a chicken out on the porch. Did. Oh, it's all about that today. All right. Okay, hang on. And wonders against Egypt. I said, Yahweh worked great and terrible signs and wonders against Egypt. Though Egypt was also what? Against Pharaoh and his entire household. And he brought us out of there to lead us into the country which he had sworn to our ancestors that he would give us. And Yahweh has commanded us to observe all these laws and to fear Yahweh our God, so as to be happy forever and to survive as we do to this day. For us, right living will mean this: to keep and observe all these commandments in obedience to Yahweh our God as he has commanded us. Ta-da! I'm coming, guys. Oh, on 7 is Israel, a people apart. Okay. Well, here we go. I'm coming. Oh my gosh, Bo is just letting me know we're back. And just about in time. I have to tell him every day. Oh, I'm going to go out there and see how Gus is reacting to the chicken out there. I don't think he killed it. I think we've been having something cruise around. He may have stopped whatever and brought the chicken on the porch. It's not, I mean, it's dead, but it's not chewed up or anything, which is interesting. Well, anyway, so there is that. So, but there too, right? Yes, we're a little bit of a divided camp here, huh? When it comes to our household on, oh, what may have happened to that chicken. Did you hear what I said? What may have happened to that chicken? Gus has been really good. He hasn't killed any chickens, haven't seen anything, this, that. I mean, he's not old enough. He's not a dog that he doesn't know how to hide things. It's just not happening. So, not sure what happened. Oh, it looks like it's a rooster, which wouldn't be a big loss because we got 3 more out there. But too many roosters isn't a good thing. But not sure what happened. Not sure. We don't know, right? So, but I'm going to go out there and see what. I'll open the door and I will be able to tell on Gus's behavior when I look at the chicken and I look at him, right? Yes, gotta have to do that first. Hopefully it is what I think it is and not trying to make excuses for Gus, right? Yes, but what I found in our divided camp here is that immediately the sarcastic remarks show up. Immediately it is just assumed, this, that, and we should never, ever do that. I think it's the same with the Bible. Yes? Okay, so there it is. How do we know God? How do we restore God's reputation when it comes to many different things? People just abuse left and right. Huh? In this one in particular, which commandment was talked about? Oh, interesting. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Just saying. Right? Gotta go. The guys are calling. Oh, it's always more to talk about the next day, right? Yes. Okay. Let's pray for our soldiers. Let's pray for any soldiers. Doesn't matter which country they come from, what side that they were on. These killing fields are everywhere. You can't see the blood anymore. It's still there. Bo's calling, barking. Coming! So, what to do? I think the best thing in that case we can do is, am I capable of repenting, truly repent for the deaths of all these soldiers, no matter what? Who they were, what they did, for what reason? That's what we need to do. And then hopefully some of that energy that I feel in certain places can be released and restored, and maybe the bloodthirst in people that now in people on earth still so apparent out there in so many different ways won't be fed as much as it is right now, right? Yes? No. Okay. All right. God's love and blessings always, and may He protect you, and we'll talk to you all another time.